Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is the first of a series of reviews that I'll try to space out with other people's, but I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks once again to Michael. Not sure if he wants me to say his last name. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, tier list, ranking, whatever the case, feel free to send it. I'll get to it as soon as I can. And for those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. There's about 4 movies and 2 albums that you want me to review. So the first I chose was City Hunter from 1993, which was on his list. Because I wanted to watch this again, because it's been a while since I've seen it, and I do remember liking this film, and watch it again. Yeah, I do like this movie. City Hunter stars Jackie Chan. It's based on a Japanese manga. I never read the manga. To be honest, I haven't really read much. I think I read one that was a request. It was like a basketball one, but I'm sure there's probably Ninja Turtle mangas that I would love to read, but I can't speak the language, so it wouldn't matter, because I wouldn't be able to read it. But, yeah, never read it. It's interesting that it's a Japanese manga, and then here we have a lot of Chinese performers. Does I always get the idea that China and Japan really hate each other? Because there's a lot of movies they do where it's like one's beating the other, or one thinks the other's so vile. So I always think they just absolutely despise each other. So the fact they want to take Jackie Chan, which I read up, apparently like a lot of people in Japan wanted him to be the lead if they did a City Hunter adaptation. I don't know, maybe it's just give them throw them a bone. I don't know how it all works. But it did get made. And I know the director of this was a Wan Jing. Apparently he was not a guy that was well liked. I know Jackie Chan didn't like him, because Jackie Chan considers this one of the worst films he did. And I'm kind of sitting there going, I don't see that at all. I mean, if you want to see the worst films Jackie Chan's been a part of, go watch. What was that? The Prisoner. That's an awful, awful fucking movie. The Prisoner. There's stuff, the Tuxedo, and some of the stuff he's done lately, like Vanguard, Bleeding Steel, other stuff I was not a fan of. This, I think, is a fun movie. It's very goofy. It's very over the top. It's very cartoonish. And if that's not your bag, you're probably not going to get into this. But it was fun. There's a lot of good action sequences and stunt work. A lot of scenes that really shows Jackie Chan's agility at this point of his life. The most famous scene, of course, is the big Street Fighter ode. If you've seen clips or footage of Jackie Chan as Chun-Li and Gary Daniels as Ken, it's from this movie. Other familiar faces, Richard Norton, who's been in quite a few films. He was in the other Jackie Chan film, Mr. Nice Guy. He starred in this underrated film called Under the Gun. It's a good one, went direct to video. Gary Daniels, who would be in the first Expendables film, did a lot of movies. Fist of the North Star, the live-action version. Blood Moon, Rage, Riot, Recoil, Riot being my favorite. A lot of films for PM Entertainment. Good martial artist. Nice to see him in here. I mean, the plot of the film is Jackie Chan is a PI, and he is a guy that loves to sleep, loves to eat, and loves to think about women. And there's a whole gag where he's streaming, thinking of women in a pool, and his assistant keeps trying to wake him up, but he won't, because he's having such a wonderful dream about all these women. He's always looking at women, trying to hit on women. Big old womanizer. Which is a nice change of pace for Jackie, because he's not usually playing that type of character. Add in from the music, and what I mean by cartoonish, like earlier on, Like the first scene is Jackie Chan talking to the camera and then showing a flashback, but the flashback is all like the environment is clearly like a dream-like environment to show it's a flashback. Him and this guy, they're punching people. You see these big pow, cool, pew, like an Adam West Batman show. At times, it kind of reminds me like of Sam Raimi comedy, which is funny because he has me reviewing Crime Wave. Like kind of that where things are so absurd and so over the top that either you go with it or you don't. So like this guy he knows gets shot, but he gets shot all these times. And, oh, I've been shot. But please. Now, in the English dub, it says cousin, but then someone says it's sister. So it's either this guy's cousin or sister. It's like, please don't seduce her. Jackie Lutz, it's a very young girl, so of course no. But then he's going down the stairs. And then when he enters, he turns, and now the girl's grown up. And so, like, he's not going to hit on her, but she likes him. And again, it's all this stuff, like, she visualizes a big giant mallet that she's going to hit and squash Jackie Chan. There's points where there's a running gag where Jackie is more and more hungry, and he can't get food. So he looks at a woman, looks at her breasts, and he visualizes hamburgers on the breasts. Either you're going along with the lunacy or it's going to annoy you. I went along because I thought, okay, it's pretty inventive, it's pretty goofy, but it has such a infectious, fun pace to it that it was entertaining. And it really does show Jackie in his comedy realm and his slapstick realm. I mean, one of the early shots is him, he can't wake up, so he's on top of a car while his assistant's driving him. And so these wide shots where he's sleeping on top of the car while she's driving around the city. And there's good action set pieces which I'll get into. The second act pretty much becomes Die Hard on a cruise liner, which can't complain about that. At least I can. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. And honestly, I would say, as I get a drink, one of the few things that was disappointing was the fact that Jackie doesn't do his own dub. And even if you watch this with subtitles, I don't think it's his voice either. Because sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes even the Chinese version, it still won't be his voice. And I don't know what it is. Like some films, obviously the ones that went theatrical, but there's some films that didn't go have a whole wide release. Jackie would go on to do the dub for them, but not for others. I do wish there was a point where he went back and did his own English dub in all of his older films. Because I'm so used to Jackie's voice that when I'm watching it and it's not his voice, even in the Chinese version, it does take me out a bit. That's with Police Story 2, this film. Again, that's part of me that wishes he would have gone back and dubbed his own voice. Because Jackie has a certain cadence with his voice, a certain charm, whether he's being hurt or he's scared, that I'm so used to that it just feels so alien to me to hear another voice coming out of his mouth. Again, even in the foreign, Cantonese, Chinese version, I can't help it. It bothers me. It does. It just bothers me. You think at least with Police Story, which is considered one of his classic, like he wouldn't go back. That dumbfounds me. If I had enough money, I'd be like, "Hey, Jackie, you want to dub this?" I would have done it. But anyway, it is what it is. But again, that's really one of my few issues with the film. the tone of it, again, I'm sorry that I keep doing this because the cold air just affected my sinuses. So the next bunch of videos sound will have me going. So I apologize for that. But yeah, the goofy tone may rub people the wrong way. They may feel it's a bit too much, put it on a bit too thick. But it didn't bother me. It just Jackie with his buy is able to sell the the slapstick fairly well, and it shows just how damn agile he was at this point in his life. And I know this is 1993, but this feels like an 80s movie. It really does look and feel like an 80s film. And there's just a lot of memorable pieces in this. Because, I mean, the plot, like I said, he's a PI. He's hired to find the daughter of the CEO. He finds her. She runs off. And he gets a skateboard. These guys on skateboard chase after him. And they get a pretty entertaining skateboard chase sequence. Where a chunk of it is Jackie actually being a skateboarder, which was cool to see. Being a guy that would watch skateboarding movies like Gleam in the Tube and stuff. It was like to see Jackie tape a bit of part into that. Ultimately, he finds out that she stole this ticket for this cruise liner, and she's on there, so Jackie finds a way to get on there, as does his assistant, who's in love with him, and she brings her cousin or whatever also on board as like a female cop. Also, you have this guy who's good at cards, which I liked him because he was kind of like Gambit, where you could throw these cards, only instead of exploding, they would like ninja stars. I thought that was cool. I don't know if that guy's in the manga, but I thought he was pretty cool. I like the idea of just using poker cards to fuck up people, stick them in their head and stuff. I don't know how fucking sharp these damn cards are to be able to do that. Because there's one that's thrown and he like kicks it and it like goes through the guy's neck or something. I'm like, how sharp are these fucking cards? Shit. But it fits with the over the top tone. It's consistent. And when I say go through that, I'm not saying it's like Evil Dead gore. Far from it. But you get the idea this what happened. But while they're on the cruise ship, you realize these terrorists, led by Richard Norton, Gary Daniels is one of his lead henchmen, they've taken over. Not only do they want the money, but also Richard Norton has this weird thing where he plays his card game with people, where they each get 2 cards. If they have a lower card number than Richard Norton, he kills them. Which is okay, that's a bit different. And yeah, this is one of those films that has a lot of memorable little set pieces of both humor and action scattered throughout to make it worth the watch for any Jackie Chan fan. Like I said, the whole skateboarding sequence, chase scene, there's a bit where this crazy bit where these women, you think they're going to hit on him, but you find out they're the wives of the women. They're wives of the men he locked up, so they're trying to beat on him, and they tied him up. Ultimately, he's able to get untied, and then he's like, I'll show you what I'm made of. He goes over, and you hear him beating the women, but you see clothes being taken off. Now, I don't know if he's going to fuck them all, or they're going to be seduced by his charms, and he's going to have like an orgy sex scene. Or if he really did beat the shit out of him. I mean, either way is kind of like horrifying. It's like, okay, I'm going to have sex with all the women that try to kill me. Or he raped them all. Or he beat the shit out of them so badly their clothes fell off. Or their clothes ran away. It's just, either way is kind of fucking horrifying. So I take whatever direction you want to take that scene, be my guess. But I'm like, what the fuck? about it. It's different from a lot of other Jackie Chan films. Or there's a scene where he's desperate for food and someone steps on this bread. And he's so pissed. He's like, choo, 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 beats the shit out of this poor guy who doesn't know what. I just accidentally stepped on some bread. He just beat the shit out of the guy. And granted, in a normal film, I'd be like, well, this guy's unlikable, but because, yeah, it fits with the tone, how silly and crazy everything is. You know, it was just fun to watch. But yeah, there's a bit where he gets the girl he's supposed to be protecting and get back home to the girl's father. There's this movie theater playing on the ship. That's Bruce Lee's Game of Death. And then lo and behold, two guys he gotta fight are two tall guys. So Jackie's trying to fight, and you have some goofy antics, like the guy grabs Jackie's leg and they're going over the top of the seats, and it's like barely hitting his, crotch. It's like, ah, blah, blah, blah. And he starts using the Bruce Lee film to fight these guys. So I thought that was kind of a nice nod to Bruce Lee. Is that, oh, thank you. Anytime. Like, that's not the exact dialogue, but like he thanks the screen, but the screen it's like you too, or answers back to him, and Johnny's like, so it is that fun cartoony style. Again, when the card guy starts helping out to save the passengers, starts using ninja cards as shurikens. There's bits of his agility, like he's disarming a guy and getting his gun, and he's grabbing it, and the guy pulls towards, and accidentally shoots himself. And Jed's like, you did that yourself. That was a fun scene. There's the bit where, well, there's two fights he has with Gary Daniels. One, Gary Daniels tries to kind of way seduce Jackie's assistant. Jackie gets in there, and decent fight going back and forth. Pop, 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 pop. Really shows the quickness of both guys. And I saw Gary Daniels was interviewed on Scott Adkins' show on YouTube, The Art of Action, and Gary mentioned how in like an American film, there are like multiple cameras filming the fight at the same time, and then afterwards solve like a puzzle. This goes here, this goes there. But in Hong Kong, they know what these cuts are. Okay, in this camera, we don't do this. Then this angle, I do this, you do this, we do this. Okay, and then in this angle, we don't shoot now, we do this, this, and this. And we do that over and over again until we get it right. Then here, it's, oh, we're in the middle of this, doing that. So they have edited in their head, which is why the fight scenes seem a bit more secure. And of course, two are so talented in martial arts, a very nice flow to it. Now, of course, they can't finish the fight because Richard Norton and his goons come in and Jackie gets captured. I guess the one other nitpick I will say is that sometimes we're spending a bit too long with some of these other characters. I don't think... I mean... They weren't bad, but it's just... So it just took a little bit away from Jackie's screen time. A little bit more than I would have liked. Like you have the three girls, which is the assistant, the girl who's being saved, and the female cop dealing with this guy who's like, I guess, ready to rape this other guy who is the cousin or whatever to the Jackie's assistant. Just ripped off like where his nipples, the shirt where his nipples are and where his ass cheeks are. At least the clothing, I should say. And while I do like the card playing guy, I don't think that guy has a scene with Jackie. The guy who's throwing all the cards. I don't think he has one scene with Jackie now that I think about it. So, I mean, we're off with these other characters, and there's that part of my brain is like, can we get back to Jackie? And I kind of want to see more of Jackie. You have this lawn scene where before the shit hits the fan, this group does this big musical number on stage. Which, I mean, it's not my kind of music, so I didn't really care about the music playing in this movie. I mean, in that scene, I should say. But there's still, satisfying Jackie Chan stuff in there. There's great stunt where he's running. There's all these explosions behind him, and he runs and dives out of the way. There's the bit, well, of course, the famous bit, the second and final fight he has with Gary Daniels, where there's a little arcade, and Jackie gets thrown into this arcade machine. You see this like electricity on him. So I guess the idea is that he sees. It's not really happening, but he's visualizing the Street Fighter game. So he thinks like this guy, these two on the side is Guile and Dawson, and that Gary Daniels is Tin. And so Jackie at first he's Honda, but they could not call him Honda because I think he did work with another car company, and they didn't something about, well, he's dealing with this other car company, so he doesn't want to play a character named Honda. I'm like, dude, it's for 30 seconds and it's a fucking character from a Street Fighter game. Who gives a shit? Like, come on, really? I say, sorry, I can't be a guy named Jeff because that's similar to Jiffy Lube, and I use other lube to put up my ass. I mean, who gives a shit, But that's how it is over there, I guess. But I will say, I mean, they try to stay true with the video game. They use the sound effects from the video game, the music from the video game. Gary Daniels as Ken does that, with that whirlwind kick. As Honda, Jackie Chan's doing the thing with the hands and then the torpedo. The one guy was Guile using the sound of boom, and even you hear the word sound of boom. Dawson, that guy spits fire and his leg shoots out like it's Mr. Fantastic. And then Jackie becomes Chun-Li, and the way she jumps and the upside down whirlwind kick. It was kind of cool to see this stuff done like how it would in the video game, and hell, you could say that's the most accurate video game depiction of a live action sort. I mean, adaptation from game to live action, this is probably the most accurate in a way. They really stuck to it. It's definitely a fun scene. Granted, we never got to see a full-on lengthy fight between Jackie and Gary Daniels. For example, similar, I mean, think of Benny the Jet Urquidez that Jackie fought in Wheels on Meals, and I think another film. You really saw this knockdown, breakdown fight. Sadly, Jackie and Gary Daniels never got to do that. Because in the first fight is a bit shorter, and it ends on kind of a stalemate. And in this, it's the video game stuff. And sadly, Gary Daniels, I don't think ever worked with Jackie Chan again. So, and I'm a fan of Gary Daniels. I think he's a very talented martial artist. I don't think he's that bad of an actor. I don't mind him as an actor. I've liked quite a few films he was in. It's sad they didn't really get to work together again, and Gary showed me more what he's capable of in a lengthy fight. But at the same time, doing it this way definitely gives it much more uniqueness. That people are definitely, even if they don't remember the movie, they don't remember this scene. So at least you're a part of that. They definitely don't remember that scene. It's easily the most memorable scene in the movie. And then he did some really decent fight with Richard Dorn, so at least you have that. Because Richard Dorn's another good martial artist. Where Richard Dorn has these two baton things, and Jackie T's blocking them. He's like, he get more and more hurt. He's even like doing the moonwalk and dance as he's trying, blocked with his arms, and the pain's overwhelming him. And he's finally getting batons. I forget what that's called. It's like the baton, but you have the thing on the side. I forget what that is. Tonfas? I think it's called tonfas. And he's blocked him and stuff. And he very quick, very agile, just great speed of movements between the two. Wonderful choreography. Different types of weapons. Because then Richard Norton's batons become like kind of whips, chains whips type of thing. And then Jati, is able to get this thing and use like a bamboo stick. Now I wish he beat up Richard Norton a bit more, because Richard Norton's been beating the shit out of Jackie Chan for like the past 5 minutes with all those hits he took. So I wish Jackie was able to get a bit more hits on Norton. Really beat him up for all the 100 times he got the shit beat with those damn batons. Beat him a bit more, 10, 15 more times with this damn bamboo stick thing that you have. But still, was a pretty good fight. Pretty fun fight. Well choreographed. Nice hits. I think I heard Jati was hurt. So some of this might have been done by someone else and not Jati, but you see enough about Jati. You see enough of Jati that I just bought into it, and I didn't notice, but maybe there's other people that could notice. And Richard Norton, he gets blown up at the end, and Jati, people are okay, and get the daughter back to her father. And the sister still wants to go out with Jati, and Jati is going to give a rose to her, but then sees a girl, and then she gets a mallet out of the blue, smacks him, and now he's back in dreamland like he was at the beginning in the swimming pool. I think Jati does sing the theme song. Just, that's in Cantonese, but I recognize his tone of voice. And that's what I mean, like, when... That's how I know that it's... When he does, like, Cantonese, sometimes it's not his voice, even in that. Because I'm like, okay, he's singing here, and I recognize that's his voice. Like, it's a very fun... I don't know if this would be in my top 10 Jackie Chan films, because that would be, like, Rumble in the Bronx would be up there, Operation Condor, Jackie Chan's First Strike, Super Cop, because those are the first ones I saw of his. I probably like Rush Hour 2. I like Rush Hour 1 as well, because I think him and Chris Tucker have great chemistry. A Police Story has to be on there. Like, Who Am I think is a bit underrated. God, I gotta think a bit. I mean, I like Mr. Nice Guy. Mr. Nice Guy, I think, is fun. I don't know. I have to think about it, because I like Shanghai Noon. So I don't know if he'll make the top 10, but maybe if I take out his American films, perhaps. Like I said, if Jackie was able to do his own voice with this, if there's a bit more of lesser on some of the other characters, a bit more Jackie in the middle section of the whole cruise liner ship thing, like little bits here and there, maybe it would be. Again, I don't think this is as bad as he made it out to be. I don't think it's one of his worst films. I don't know why he thinks that. I know I had his book at one point. I don't know what happened to it. I know I used to have his book. And so I don't know. I don't remember what he says as to why he hates the film so much. I know he wasn't a fan of the director, and I don't think the director was a fan of him. But just before I forget, and by the way, to sum up, fun movie. If you like your comedy, cartoony, over the top, and goofy, you like a really great scene reference to Street Fighter 2, I should say. You want to see some nice agility and fun action moments of Jackie, definitely worth a look. Fun film. But the director, He did another film a couple years after this called... Okay, there's two titles. High Risk, but in the U.S., it was on DVD as Meltdown. It was with Jet Li. And I used to have the DVD, because that's another film that tried to be a bit like Die Hard. It's Die Hard in the building. So you mean Die Hard. I laugh because Steven D'Souza, there was an interview where someone tried to, hey, I got an idea for a movie, and Steven D'Souza's like, okay, what is it? It's Die Hard, but in a building. And the guy was serious about it. Steven's like, what? Die Hard is in a building. It's Die Hard, but in a building. But, I mean, that's what Meltdown is, or High Risk. I always remember the DVD menu because it was like this music. Just repeat it. The reason I'm bringing that all up is the same director of this did that movie, and in that movie, Jet Li is a stunt. There's a guy in the movie that I guarantee is a knock on Jackie Chan. Because this is a guy who, he's an actor that does his own stunts, but he doesn't really do his own stunts. He's known for doing his own stunts, but he's really a coward, and he's afraid, and he's a chicken. He's making all these goofy faces, and he's scared of the bad guys. Until ultimately he does fight one and win at the end, but... If you've seen, like, marketing, he's wearing, like, kind of like a Bruce Lee, Dame of Death type of suit. He's, like, huddled behind Jet Li, but I think that's supposed to be... He may deny it, but that was a knock on Jackie Chan. So, obviously, he's not a fan of the guy either. So, they don't like each other. Again, if you look up Meltdown, aka High Risk, again, he may be just like Bruce Lee, Dame of Death, but that's clearly a knock on Jackie Chan. Oh, a star who is known for doing his own stunts, but he doesn't really do any. It's okay. So, I don't know if he did that because Jackie Chan talked shit about this movie, or he just had a bad experience with Jackie. I don't know. I mean, I could try to read on Wikipedia and IMDb, but who knows if they're true or if they're full of shit too. Who knows? Either way, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Didn't mean for the review to be this long, but oh well. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.